Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 18th to the 24th of May 2015. So we begin the week with a very potent dark moon. This is bringing to culmination everything that the Scorpio full moon brought up, and we're also in the frequency of lots of retrogrades and lots of complex energy as well. So Sunday, Monday, very deep, last couple of days, very deep to complete a cycle, to be able to let go of density, to understand the message of what's been brought up in the last couple of weeks, and maybe even the last couple of years or last couple of decades, because time tends to work in spirals and we have reminiscent things coming up that take us back to something that maybe wasn't healed in the past, for healing as well. So a couple of days that we're going through into the beginning of the week with the dark moon in Taurus, very much to do with finding the inner love, the inner nurture and the inner strength, because everything that's going on the outside is can be kept on the outside if you have a strong heart, if you're true to yourself, if you know where home is. Then it's to set that tone now, because we're going into a lot of Gemini activity, and that does tend to get quite bright and buzzy and busy, but it can pull us out, and it's very much to do with the management of our energies in the weeks coming up. So we have the new moon in Taurus on Monday. So it's dark moon in Taurus because the new moon is falling at the end of Taurus. So the dark moon has actually gone from Aries to Taurus and then refreshes itself at the end of the sign of Taurus. So what's lovely about Taurus is we get to connect with the greenery, the heart centre, but on the outside that's replicated by nature flourishing. It's a nice slow pace as the sun comes out, and we can actually peel off a few layers and start to enjoy nature outside and in. So Taurus is a really wonderful month, and it's a great time to connect to your value and your creativity as well. Something to ponder over the next couple of weeks as the moon grows from the new moon in Taurus might be something like, where do your values come from? Where does your creativity come from? Are you grateful for your creativity? And have you honed that over lifetimes? Because one of the wonderful things about studying astrology on a daily basis is we're constantly reminded that this is one lifetime of many, and that we get that perspective from there. But where does your actual creativity come from? Bring it back even more simply. If you have a favourite colour or number, why? Why would you resonate to a certain colour or a certain number frequency? And somebody that's made of exactly the same substances, physical substances, bone, cell, blood, or maybe our blood's different, but you get my point. Why are we all on a different frequency? And astrology helps to answer some of these questions when we look at our chart and we see our unique makeup as well as our ancestral lineage. So a good meditation there would be to have a look at what you love and how you can create from that place of love and how unique it is, and to honour the process really. Where does that come from? What's your journey been to develop your talents and your creativity and your love, and where are you taking that forward to in the future? So a huge deal of gratitude and appreciation if we just stop on the full moon, having released everything of the past 2 weeks, and just enjoy the now. But enjoy the now in as much as where it's come from, and then that will show you where you can take that and do more with it into the future. So the lovely heart centre of Taurus there, calling us to be centred, calling us to be present, but also maybe with all of these retrogrades, before you start to step forwards, maybe it's necessary to step back and actually honour the journey that you've been on, and honour what you've achieved so far, ponder what you love and why, and really get back connected with those simple inner knowings and truths and values, so that you can actually do your intentions or start bringing in from a place of coherence. So that's the new moon in Taurus on Monday, but that will stretch over the next couple of weeks. But things don't stop there. On Tuesday we have Mercury turning retrograde in Gemini, and I spoke for quite some length last week on the connection between our thoughts and our feelings, our memories and our emotions, and how they may be in a loop where we're drawing down from and what we're reporting back, what we're transmitting back to. So there's a great study coming up in the next few weeks of thought and memory and emotion, and where they are all either freely flowing, what we're tuning into, or where they're looping and what we need to get out of. So Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, and it's said that it's all to do with the mind, but with retrograde it's a little bit more lunar in a way. It's all to do with our inner subconscious, our thoughts and our feelings, and where we're creating from, where our mind tunes into, and also to honour the two hemispheres of the brain. So many people don't like Mercury retrograde because they see that it stops them from doing, from planning, and from acting out all of those thoughts into a cohesive plan. But it's more to do with tuning into the intuition, tuning into what we're actually receiving and what's going on in that inner world of the psyche and the subconscious, and what we're creating on the inside. So Mercury retrograde helps us jump into the other hemisphere, the feelings, the intuition, the knowledge of self, and it can be a great learning curve if we spend the next few weeks looking at that rather than just getting frustrated at any hiccups in plans that may be coming along. And also anything that doesn't go our way, doesn't go to plan, there's a reason for it. You get a change of direction so that you're not careering off course all the time. So the recalibration aspect is very much, you may think that you know where you're heading, but maybe that's not good for you. Maybe there's a rethink that needs to happen and a revising. So during a Mercury retrograde, anything beginning with revise, reevaluate, respect, and just go in and see if you are actually wanting to end up at the place that you think you are, or whether you need to kind of recalibrate in order to end up in a greater place. So Mercury retrograde begins, and it's Tuesday the 19th. The day it turns back to direct will be June the 12th, and then we're out of the complete phase by the end of June. So it helps to know kind of where we want to be energetically by the end of June, but not get too caught up on the detail and the planning and the controlling. It's all about the controlling mind, Mercury retrograde in Gemini. Can you see where you're trying to control things, either yourself or other people? And that's where the frustration comes in, when things don't go according to what you want them to be. But maybe there's a bigger being. Maybe if you let go of control and release a little bit and go into the intuition, then you'll see that you're not controlling things from that part of you anyway, and that there could be a greater story going on and a greater expression of yourself to come out after the 12th of June and through the rest of June. You may feel older and wiser and more aligned to a greater goal. So it's actually a cause for celebration. Don't read too much of the negative stuff, but just go in and have a look at all the things we were talking about last week, the thoughts, the memories, the emotions, but also your intuition, your need to control, your need to plan, your idea that thoughts are actually what makes your future happen. They are in a way, but not the way that we feel, not the way that we're taught. So Mercury retrograde there on Tuesday, beginning a phase. We've also had quite a tough week because we've had Mars opposite Saturn. So whenever Saturn's opposite anything, that tends to bring that aspect out into full view like a full moon. So Mars has been on show this week. People's anger, people's dynamism where it's misdirected, people's frustration. There's been a deal going on with masculinity and structure, and where we're actually balanced in ourselves with the masculine and feminine, and where we have maybe given away some of our power or become codependent. Have a look at what the masculine has been teaching you about your core strength over the last couple of days, because that's not something to be messed with. So we leave Taurus on Wednesday, and then we go into Gemini, and the Sun will be opposite Saturn. So this phase is to continue. So Saturn is your backbone, it's your discipline, it's where you make yourself proud when you do things properly. But when any planet goes opposite Saturn, that can show up if there's any inconsistencies or if there's anything that's needing to be changed. So a challenge to our core strength, a challenge to our responsibility. Are we avoiding responsibility anywhere? Are we again giving our light force energy away with the sun being opposite? Are we actually honouring our own light source and being our true selves? So that's all coming up Wednesday, Thursday as the sun moves over into Gemini. This, interestingly, as well, also goes over the spot of Aldebaran, which is the fixed star in Taurus. So these are very strong days when Aldebaran is highlighted in a chart. So Aldebaran is the eye of the bull of Taurus, and then we'll be going into a phase where we meet Alcyon in the Pleiades as well, which is some cultures, the South American cultures say is the middle sun. It's actually a portal and where we come from. So there's some very, very strong energy when the sun goes over the point between Taurus and Gemini. So I feel this will be a week of strength, of inner strength, of responsibility, and of managing our energies properly so that we are left core and aligned and proud of ourselves, that we're being our authentic self. So by the end of the week we've gone through that Saturn opposition, and now we're into the full swing of Gemini. So we have Mars in Gemini, we have Mercury retrograde in Gemini, and we have the Sun in Gemini. So this is all about our inner child really, and finding the balance within ourselves. At the beginning of Gemini we start with the inner child, or the little voice inside, the intuition. So hopefully lots of healing has already happened where we've actually connected with that inner child and we've refreshed ourselves. But Gemini gives us a chance to get back to that simplicity. Everything seems to be complicated as we're dealing with lots of people, and we're called out of ourselves a bit more to go to meetings and to hopefully try not to make plans, but we've still got busy spots in our diary and we're trying to navigate the waters of that retrograde in Gemini. But see if you can find that still inner voice. See if you can actually step out every day from a place of tranquility and recognition of the simple you, so that no matter how complicated things get on the outside, you've always got that space to come back to. And Gemini are the twins, so the general lesson over the month of Gemini is very much to look at the pole opposites and to find the fusion in the middle. That's why it's the Lover's card in the tarot. So what we'll find with most people with a strong Gemini in their chart is that they can express two different archetypes. They can be higher and lower. They can be outer and inner. They could be, say, happy and sad, or wise and silly. But we all have Gemini in our charts somewhere, so we may get to explore a polarity during this month. Is there something that comes up that leaves you in two minds? Do you even know your own mind? And can you find the balance in something that's seemingly contradictory or paradoxical? That said, Gemini is actually quite a fun sign. It's all about laughter and love and enjoying the summer breeze, the birds, the bees buzzing around. It's all about that kind of energetic, as we can see that we're heading into the summer and we're feeling a little bit more, it's not so much golden, but maybe lemony, zesty kind of feel. Gemini comes in with a fizz. So if we're not too caught up on our control with the retrogrades, and if we're connected with our heart and our inner child, then there is time for some fun. There's time to be philosophical when things don't go your way, but to find the funny side, to find the meaning, and to actually be a little bit excited about the different things that could be coming in. Because maybe your plan was a bit too boring anyway, or based on past desires that don't suit you. So maybe when things don't go to plan, it's actually an opportunity to be a bit excited, to say, well, I wonder what's going to happen here. I don't know. I give up control in that way, but let's see what happens. Let's actually explore this Gemini energy and see where we end up. So there's a saying by Lao Tzu, if you don't change direction, you may end up where you're heading, which seems very appropriate. And another one, a good traveller has no fixed plans and is not intent on arriving. So I feel those two phrases are relevant as we head into this week. Try not to be too intent on arriving somewhere. We realise that maybe we'll get to somewhere a little bit different by the end of June, but let go of that destination. Enjoy the intention, purify that, recalibrate, and enjoy the journey. So those are the horoscopes for this week, and I'll see you next week. With all this energy in Gemini, it's a great chance to give the mind something to do. So while we're not planning and controlling, well, what about if we actually give our mind a challenge? Maybe learn something, maybe explore something. So I have my online courses as usual. It's a good time to do some online learning, or even with the retrograde, some divination, because we're working from that other hemisphere. So I have all of my courses and my readings, which are available to you in person or over Skype. So I'll leave the links below, but please do check out if you'd like to actually put your mind to some good use and to improve your divination skills, to expand the other hemisphere. And also, because it's a sociable month, I actually have started up a personal meetup group on the middle Wednesday of every month, which is exploring astrology and tarot and other subjects for that month. But if you can't make that, then please do check out my membership subscription area, where for a small fee you can come and join a community where we can discuss things in private. We can actually learn and grow together with a number of topics that will be relevant to the time that we're living in. So a lovely small closed subscribers area there if you're interested in contributing, but your timetable or your geography doesn't allow you to come to the actual meetup group. But by all means, if you are in London and you'd like to be part of the meetup group on the middle Wednesday of the month, then please do contact me for details. That's zoehines7@gmail.com.